What's up? Welcome back to the Huddle, your weekly playbook where we help you gain forward progress in your flooring career. We are here to help you win. To all of our new viewers, welcome to the team. What's up, fellas?
How's it going?
Sorry
What's
we're
going on,
late,
brother?
audience. We had a little technical difficulty, but we got it. We got it. We're here on a cold, blistery winter's day. I would love it if anybody on would just comment with what degree and where you're at because we got 14 up here in Kansas City and it feels like it's like 7. Well, 7 below. It was literally 8 below here. We don't get
Yeah,
below. I mean, we get cold in Kansas, but below
we're
0.
4 degrees and our low is -5.
Yes, Roland, I am cold because I just got back from lunch and it is like 14 degrees. And like I said, it is almost, with the wind chill, I think it's saying like it feels like -4 or something crazy. Anyway, I think it is -4. That's how cold it is.
Cold. It's cold.
Yeah, I actually plugged my truck in last night to make sure that we're gonna be good this in the morning.
Good call.
What, is it a diesel?
Yeah,
Or you do that every time it's like down in the,
below
shouldn't you
20.
do that below 20? I don't know what our guys do, but they certainly um, plug in our trucks. I think it's probably any time it's under freezing. But anyway, today is we are going to need some audience participation for this to last an hour. But it's always a fun topic. Uh,
Say
it's
that.
for
You say
well,
that.
yeah. I
It's
don't
fun
know.
now. It's fun to talk about it now. It wasn't fun back in the day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't fun when these things happened, but your first time flooring failures, you know, we'll go a little bit farther and discuss like how to avoid them too, or what we learned from them. But it's going to take participation because I've only made one mistake, and I think Daniel only made one. Jose's only made one. So
What's up,
at
Jorge?
that,
I
we
think
got like 3.
Jorge's at home sick right now too, I think, based on his post earlier.
Hey Jorge,
Yeah.
how cold is it there, dude? I know it's always warm there, but I heard from Ben, who many of you know with Go Carrera, um, and he's been on the podcast several times. But he said that he was showing me pictures of family members down in Houston that got 4 inches of snow. So I'm sure it ain't as warm as it usually is for you, Jorge. But it's not.
Might as well just shut the whole community down at that point when it's
That this happened. I
I
remember
think the
working
whole
in Oklahoma.
city, from what Ben said, the whole city's shut down. Like
uh,
they just stayed home.
Well, they just weren't equipped, right? Like they don't have the roads are different, the tires are different, and I never would have thought about that. But when we were in Oklahoma, they shut down because of like 2 hours of freezing rain, and we were down there with Michigan tires and just like, what do you guys like? What's wrong?
All right, we got some 27s to 40 degrees now. Okay, well, you're whooping our ass.
right.
It's you're 3 times as warm as we are. Well, we're gonna give it a second. Let some audience catch up with us here, and hopefully we'll be getting some participation on this topic. But when you think about, let's start with this. When you think about flooring, all right. When you think about flooring fells, um, what always comes to my mind is things that go wrong. But I'm not talking about um, not like I didn't prep the floor or something like that. these are things that you maybe did early on that caused you some issues. So obviously a little bit do a temperature check here.
8
Oh,
degrees.
degrees, wind chill 5. Where are you at? Holy
He's
moly.
in.
Maryland.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Well, that checks out. But I was kidding when I said I've only made one flooring fill. I've made 2. And multiple more than that actually, but one that I was telling you guys I'll save, but I do have another. Did you guys ever use dependable gypsum patch back in the are you old enough?
No, like I think
I-
we're old enough to have used it, but smart enough to have never used it.
Okay, well you got me
Yeah,
on the
it used to
second
come in the
point.
square buckets. It used to come in the square buckets is when the
You
last
could get
time
it in
I
square
touched
buckets
it.
or bags.
Yeah, that's the
Now,
last
I
time
was an
I used it.
hourly employee, so it wasn't like I was trying to save money. I just used what the company gave me to use. I didn't go out and try to, save a few bucks on a bag of patch. But we used, I skim coated. I'm talking. So there's a reason you're supposed to check your substrate. Let me preempt this with check your substrate, make sure that there's no oil, it's free of oil and paint and these types of things. I did none of that, first off. And secondly, I skim coated an entire hallway, and I even built it up real nice in a few areas, maybe ½ inch with some
Yeah, that's some skin coat.
dependable gypsum base patch. And can anybody just guess what happened when I glued down my tried to glue down my carpet? It
Broke
was,
free.
dude, I had bubbles everywhere, and it was like a 30-foot shot by about 8.5, 9 foot wide, and the entire thing came up. Well, then you try to spread glue right over the top of it, and there was like a hydraulic oil or something in the. It was a nightmare. I couldn't. I had to throw away. I got in big trouble because I had to throw away the whole drop. We couldn't get the gypsum. By the way, sticks to carpet glue really well, and it was stuck to the back of the carpet. Had no chance. What does he say? He says used it with milk. It worked great.
I don't think he means
Shoot.
real milk. Also, he
Yeah,
says it was the only thing
Yeah,
back in the
latex.
70s. And I'm an 80s baby, so that's before my time.
That is before your time, but I would say that I didn't mix it with latex either. Is that a thing?
yeah,
Gypsum with latex?
it makes it
Well,
more pliable.
I haven't used it uh well since I opened my company. We'd never used it. It's always been cement Portland based product, but anyway, it was quite the nightmare. How to avoid that is 2 things. The substrate was contaminated with something. I think it was like hydraulic fluid or something like that. They had to come in and clean up the whole thing. And secondly, don't, in my opinion, not only in my opinion, I could show you a picture of a job that I went on just recently, this over the weekend, and was helping the crew to get some stuff out. And I should probably put this in for like worst demo of the year, but it has, as you can see, a nice layer of gypsum right on top of layer number 3. That's 4 layers of vinyl and a layer of carpet over the top. So that's not a flooring fill. We knocked it out of the park, but it was a pain in the ass. Pardon the French. Hey, Danny, where are you at, brother? That's so cold. Give me your location and temperature there. Okay, so we've lost Daniel. He's back again.
I forgot to put it on Do Not Disturb again, and I got a phone call. So we're back.
Sweet. All right, so chime in, comment with your flooring fails, and let us make fun of you.
Let us make fun of us too.
Well,
We do that really
first
well.
off, I did learn. So, like, I guess one of the first experiences I had
I
with
think you
patch,
need to turn your gain up. It's really hard to hear
Is it
you.
really that low?
Yeah,
All right. We're going to yell at for it being too much.
Nah.
Better? No?
Yeah.
a little bit.
Boom, boom, boom.
That's
Come
better.
on, Daniel.
All right. So
My man
we
Danny.
did a project
My brother.
a while ago, and we prepped everything kind of similar to what you did. We prepped everything. We didn't really grind anything. There was a bunch of old adhesive or what we thought was adhesive, and let's just call it contaminants on the floor. So we tried to skim over it with Ardex. And then we started getting ready to install, and everything started popping up. We didn't know what was going on, but that's when we found out that that was an inside chicken coop, and the chicken poop itself and what they fed it introduced a bunch of contaminants to the concrete. The concrete absorbed it, and when we tried to encapsulate it, brought everything back up, and we could no longer do anything to that floor.
So of course that's Ardex's fault, right? I mean,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, 100%. Garbage. Just go get the dependable batch.
Just kidding, Ardex. We love you. That was a joke.
Well, the same thing like before, I think this guy was on a job site and he didn't have any water or something and mixed it with like a Mountain Dew or a Gatorade or something, and then come to find out when we're going through classes later that you don't want to mix sugar in with that because that don't mix either. So, and the crazy thing is you still see people on Facebook doing that. Like, I don't have anything. I'm gonna mix this with my Coke real quick.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and they post it like it's the cool thing to do.
To like be proud of?
Yeah.
That's so silly.
Desperate times.
About
call for
the
desperate measures.
craziest I've gotten with Patch is, heating up the water a little bit to make her kick off a little faster. But
Oh yeah. I think that's I don't want to say common practice, but I have used that many times in the past on some deeper stuff.
this is what this is our life in flooring. Well, guys, just got a call. Installers are 9 foot short on black base. Got to run and put it in. It's at the Eagles Club, and they got to put the furniture back at 6 p.m. Not a fail on the
Salesperson
installer's
fail.
part. Salesperson fail.
Got those too.
Yeah, it's just so funny to me. Like that's like the epitome of our business. You're just a little short on something, or and it's got to be done. That's the world of flooring, because we
Right.
are the last the Mohicans in a
Danny
job site,
says-
and typically it's moving right in behind us.
Danny says sometimes scarifying and primer just aren't enough, but there's always a way. But when you don't know that way, that's when you run into stuff. Because I ran into one with that too, where we put a bunch of, we ground it right and put a bunch of self-leveler down, and everything looked great. Like a week later, they were like, "Hey, all that patch is popping." Go back and come to find out, like it was in a vestibule, and it just had the grate there before, so all that salt was just sitting there for years and just absorbed into that concrete, and it was just a bond breaker.
Wow. Yeah, I would think that that high of alkalinity you talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have broken that bond for sure.
See you, Rollin. You go have fun installing your 9 foot of base.
See you, Roland. Okay, polls are open. How long is it going to take Roland to toss up 9 feet of black vinyl base?
It's probably already done.
It's already done.
Danny, I did prime first, but it was not a primer that was
Wasn't an epoxy primer. Is probably
in that case. Yeah, it just like it did nothing. Like you said, that's a lot of alkalinity, and that's straight salt, and you have no idea how deep it went.
I got a question. Does anybody? Well, first off, does anybody put does anybody use flammable contact cement when you're putting on carpet
Hold on.
broadloom on stairs.
There's non-flammable contact cement.
There is now.
Yeah. Yeah, there's non-flammable.
I don't trust it.
That's what
I
we've
don't
been
either.
using.
The Parabon does have one, but good old, what is it, 5025 or whatever, the red can Parabon, that's what I use. So one time, oh, it's 40 minutes away. It'll take him a minute.
So it'll take him 50 minutes.
It's going to take him 42 minutes to get this done. So that's all I ever used when I was installing broadloom, is contact cement, flammable contact cement. Roll the back, roll your stairs, and I'd do on a 4-foot set of stairs. I'd cut up for 10, and I'd waterfall them up the stairs, and
Didn't know they had
mumbo jumbo.
Didn't know they had non-flammable.
So anyway, I've got this. I'm starting, and what ends up happening is, I have that whole carpet draped over me. So I was effectively in a flammable contact cement tent for about an hour. I didn't even realize how goofy I had gotten until I got all those, the first 10 stairs done. But that is probably one, if you want to stay smart and not kill every brain cell, that you should avoid doing. So that's maybe one of my ultimate fails. Was I was high as a kite for a good hour or so after that. I couldn't even, and I was sick to my stomach. I thought I was going to puke on the job site.
It doesn't make you hungry?
I got the munchies from contact cement.
Yeah, and I did that when I was 12 years old, contacting a bunch of steps for this guy right here, and then he got mad at me because I got sick.
Yeah. Actually, that was one of the first jobs he ever helped out with, out in Holland, and he's right. I put him on contacting the steps, and this guy's like, I don't feel good, and me being the awesome big brother I am, just pretty much told him that he was a little bitch and blah blah blah, or that word. Sorry guys. And then didn't realize there was no ventilation.
I got a brother in no ventilation. Sorry, I seen Jorge did the same thing.
This is all good. Yeah, no ventilation, and pretty much I got my brother high on chemicals at 12 years old.
Yep. Nate just did a bunch with some non-flammable too. I seen the pictures where he used the Cool Glide on the seams.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, it was not good, Jorge. And I don't know where you how you could possibly get the get hungry from it, but
so he says that someone that he knows, or we're going to Hodges real quick. Someone that he knows installed some glue down plank in 0-degree weather. It's acclimated inside, but how can you acclimate it in?
Yeah,
I mean, unless inside was like the HVAC was on, then it's fine. The material flexed and gapped. Well, I think when it's cold and then you install it, it's gonna end up pushing up on each other, expanding. Yeah, that's severe.
I can't
change
imagine
in
that turned out good.
No,
not unless it stayed there. But surely they heated it up a minute. Put it back to normal temperature. Okay, Lanny says, I had a project not pass inspection. It was glued down broadloom carpet and out of the specs for Boeing. It was on a weekend, and I could not get in touch with the rep or the salesman that was on vacation. Them damn salesmen. And vacation when you need them the most. And the commercial space had to be back in use on Monday. I crab stretched it as far as I could, but it was on gypsum and it didn't hold very well. Yep, I could see that. We ended up sending another guy out there to seam and stretch the centers. Cost me a few bucks.
Good learning experience.
Good learning experience, though. Yeah, I don't know how you would do that without cool
busting up
grinding
the
the
gypsum
seams and prepping the gypsum and priming it and prepping it. The problem is gypsum, you
well,
put a
you
lot of glue on that, even if you
and
prime it. And like we've had it where guys skim coat it and they prime it and skim coat it. And then you put down, um, if you have like the thin set that they used in this very first unit, it was more of a prepping thing, not necessarily skim coating, but they had to prime it to be able to get the all these belly sways that were in the gypcrete out. But point being, when they mix their thin set and they mix it really runny,
Oh yeah,
and it
all that
the
introduces
moisture
moisture.
went in
all
there
the
and it
moisture.
it released that. And I was like, dude, that's going to happen every time, even if you prime it and kind of do it mostly right. Um, you can get away with a lot, but you don't want to over wet in your thin set. It probably wouldn't have held anyway at the end of the day. So it
Well,
was
that and
a
you're
good
that's
early
where
catch.
checking the porosity after that, after you prime it that first time
Yeah.
too, to make sure that it's not gonna, super soak up some of that moisture.
Yep.
But yeah, I think a
Yeah.
lot of
Crazy.
these fails are just learning experiences. Like we're talking about contact, and before we got on here, that's what I said. I'm still in high school, working at a high school during the summertime, was carrying a gallon of contact just from one end of the school to the other in one of the rooms that we just installed, slipped out of my hand, spilled everywhere. I'm trying to clean it up and repair it before anyone comes in. And like just when you think that you're in the clear, like, all right, I got it. I got the carpet there and it was tandis, so I'm just gonna double cut it, right? As soon as I go to start double cutting it, guess who just walks in, catches me. Like I was almost done.
Almost there. Like, what the hell's going on?
What'd you end up doing?
He ended up showing me exactly how it should be done instead of me messing it up even more.
Yeah. Fair.
Because I didn't mess up, right? That's how I learned too. So,
Yeah,
ah,
he said that he did prime it, but he didn't own a stretcher, just a crab, and the crab can only do so much. We've been on projects where we have two stretchers and like four crabs because the carpet is that messed up. And I mean, granted, it was out of tolerance, and the
right.
manufacturer knew, and they were like, all right, we're just going to pay you guys to get it in there. We're confident it'll stretch that much. And that's what we did. We had a stretcher head on this side, a stretcher head on this side, and
Dead man's
stretched
and
stretched it overnight. Let it do its thing.
I will say the one thing that we did that on that project that we learned was ripping it down into more manageable pieces to pre-stretch it, like 3 foot, 4 foot wide pieces instead of the whole 12 foot width
12
or
foot.
12 foot 6. Yeah, we did rip it down, and because not every part of it needed to be stretched that much.
Huh.
Grinding the floor and putting it down without checking for porosity. Well, a lot of guys also grind without even vacuuming, and they don't realize that that's
The
grinding is
dust.
going to introduce dust into that concrete.
Yeah. I've been. We've been, I should say, guilty of not of doing a vacuum after you have if you got a really dusty job site, coming back after lunch and thinking you could just spread, and
Nope.
all the dust
Just
from
had
the
that
rest,
conversation
Just
today.
settles.
like it just come it
Snowflakes.
yeah, it just came down. And another good reason why a lot of flooring guys just prefer to work it in the evenings when no one else is there, because they cut sheetrock in the other room and that dust is over into
Dude,
your room, and it's so
drywall dust
frustrating.
is the enemy.
It is
It
the
30
gets in
days, man.
devil.
30 days
everywhere.
later. I've seen it 30 days later, still
I bet
just
we've
floating
been
around.
into places like in hospitals, and then they're sanding it, like we install, and then they start sanding, and then you can actually see it migrating in the like the notches, in between the notches, and it just going deeper and deeper. Jorge says Lanny, he learned that checking the carpet before installation is a must. The problem is the store should be checking, but they would leave it up to the installers to check the day of installation. He's had someone send them bowed material, install it, resend another roll. They said they double checked, rolled it out, and it was the same thing. And then he made another claim, and they said that he was probably wrong. The independent inspector came, checked, and said it was past the tolerance again. So you can't take anyone's word for it. I mean, if you look at just the CFI, right? The R1, you get into patterns and elongation and bows and skews and what to look for and how to look for it, and a lot of it just falls on the installer, unfortunately. But it should be a salesman type of thing. But a lot of these salesmen don't have the knowledge to just look at something and be like, yeah, that's wrong. A lot.
Well, and think about it from a dollars and cents standpoint. There's two things. One, most of the salesmen don't have the skill and ability to really know what they're looking at or really understand how to check it in the first place. The second thing is, if you're pushing out 50, 60 houses, 75 houses a week or 100 even, there's no time to unroll and visibly
Just
check.
look at it.
I mean, like, dude, that ain't going to happen. It is going to fall on us, and it's always going to fall on the installer.
Yeah.
That's just how this business is. Until you get to where the manufacturers don't try to send out crappy product. Because why is it that I'm going to defend the dealer on this? Why is it the dealer's responsibility? They paid good money for
And it
a
already
first
passed
quality
the
product.
manufacturer's quality inspection.
And yeah, that's on them. I mean, I get it, but
well, you also
at the
have
end
the
of the day,
salespeople
man,
that come to you and they're like, yes, it's just some broadloom carpet, no pattern. You
No
get there
pattern.
and it's like a 1/2 inch by 1 inch pattern, and it's like, bro,
yeah,
I would
like the
rather
hardest one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd rather do a 3-foot pattern. Yeah.
Just overlap and double cut, right?
Yeah. Well, that's how you do all carpet, isn't it?
Serpentine.
So Brother Danny
Serpentine.
says he doesn't get it with all the social media knowledge out there that it doesn't change. And I think it's just that some people don't want to change. You have to actually look at yourself and admit that you're wrong sometimes, and that's hard for some people to do.
And Danny, what are you specifically referencing? Like all the problems from the manufacturer, or what? Or are you talking about with all the social media out there that the knowledge of these issues should be wide enough? Think smaller.
Yeah, that's how I took that.
He's still he's a couple seconds behind.
He's a little bit behind, but
Delayed.
yeah, I'm wondering what he's referencing there, but for sure, like we all see stuff on social media, but unless you're in the learning, like you're ready to learn, just running across someone else's fail isn't gonna. It just isn't gonna stick.
My favorite thing lately has been when the guys that you see posting on a regular basis that are posting some quality work, and then they'll come on and be like, just post a picture. What's wrong with this picture? And then, they'll be like, yep, that is the issue. And then a lot of them are like, and that is why I worked until this time last night, because I wasn't going to leave it like that. But that's the thing. It's catching it and then fixing it. And that's, I think, the big thing about these rookie fails is you learn from what you do. Like, I don't ever want to make that mistake again. Like, I know we've talked about before about trying to glue down linoleum like it was sheet vinyl, and then there was bubbles everywhere. It's like, yeah, I'm never going to do that again.
Yeah, part of it is like, even after training, you run across things because there's no sight. There's so many millions of combinations from the type of concrete to the job site conditions to the product that you're putting in to the adhesive. You take 4 variables and hundreds of thousands of different job sites, and not one exact condition matches the other. That's why manufacturers are so vague in a lot of their site conditions, and then they have to weigh that against like selling their product, because there's a lot of manufacturers. I won't name any, but we had a deal recently, and this isn't on a flooring fail, but it's just one of these examples. It says that the site condition should be between 65 and 85 for proper installation and maintain for 48 hours thereafter. Well, it's a PSA LVT, and when it gapped over what's allowed, it was like, well, what are they doing with the AC? I'm like, well, they turn it off. And I know that shouldn't happen, but your manufacturer's instructions don't state that you have to keep it there or within 10%. Some of them will say between 7 and 10% or something like that. From there on, it just says for 48 hours thereafter.
For 48 to 72
before
hours.
and
the
48
curing
to
time,
72
right?
after. Yeah. Well,
During
that
the
ain't going to
curing
hold
time,
the that's not going to hold the planks or help the gapping out at all. There are so many issues, but let's talk hard surface. They remove floor, pull product out of the van and install, or they think because drop off 2 days earlier and assume it's acclimated, no pH, relative humidity. Yeah, well, that's a whole different beast. And I'm assuming you're talking about wood for the first.
Or just LVP
or
in general.
Natural stone. Yeah, well, you're not really checking. I guess you are checking our relative humidity of the area, but hardwood's even different because you got to check the actual wood
moisture in the wood and in your
substrate, and then there's the calculation you got to do to see if it's within tolerance.
One of the best things a person can do for themselves is get trained, get certifications, continue learning. After that experience, I ended up getting Forbo Master Certified, Mohawk, and Mondo. To this day, I still learn all the time. And that's where
Amen, Lanny. You should be like an ambassador for us, both at the Huddle and for Go Career. That is
he's
our
actually
scream.
Really active in the groups and stuff too. And I'm pretty sure there's some guys that still question his knowledge, even though he's been in it for a long time and he's learned so much. And just because they don't do it the exact same way that he does, they're like, nope, you're wrong. I don't need to do it like that. You're wrong. I've done it this way for 20 years.
20 years.
30
I can't
years.
stand that saying. Yeah, I mean, when you have just like Danny was talking about, not checking for acclimation, things like that. I mean, that's a great time to be using Floor Cloud, is when you need to know your site conditions. Maybe you're not already on site and your salesperson has that. They can check the site conditions, whether residential or commercial, and they know right then whether they should be dispatching you to the job site, whether or not they're going to be setting you up for success or not. So demand Floor Cloud. It enables that real-time monitoring of site conditions. We're all believers. We talk about it pretty often here about the simple and easy setup, how great the interface is. And, when you have job sites all over, particularly in the commercial world, but it obviously works just as good in the residential world, having that information right there at your fingertips is a real game changer. Let's run
in your pocket.
Amen. Let's run a quick Floor Cloud video.
Floor Cloud enables real-time monitoring of your job site conditions via desktop or mobile device. No more manual checking for temperature, humidity, or even dew point. No need for base stations, Wi-Fi, or external power sources. Simply scan the QR code on the front of your sensors and you're up and running with the most accurate and innovative site monitoring system in the flooring industry. Dispatch your crews with confidence and reduce your climate-related installation issues.
Now floorcloud.com. And
Now Yeah, that's Danny said Floor Cloud is awesome. Knowing your site conditions is awesome, and knowing it at your fingertips is really awesome. So Yeah, thank you to our sponsors, Floor Cloud. I would say that, guys, talking about milk earlier got me thinking we will milk a subject, and we are doing so. Let's keep this going. I love it. So, another thing when you're talking about these flooring failures, first off, I just want to say this, like, admit that you didn't know what the hell you was doing and you was messing up. It was really funny to hear your story about messing up that Tandis carpet and your brother coming in, like, he fixed it and kept me from messing it up even worse. Like, you were messing it up, and you're able to, like, just admit it, move
Well,
on, learn
wait,
that lesson.
not everyone has someone walking in on them like when you're in there, right? So it was one of those things like, you caught me, so
What do
So
you
what am I
show
call
gonna
me how
do?
to fix it right. Well, my point is, when you were talking about, like, some people maybe, giving Lanny not trusting what he has to say because we've been doing this 20 years or whatever. Um, like, guys, if you think, what is that saying? Like, the dumbest person in the room is the person who thinks he knows it all. And it's because you can't learn. You're not going to be able to learn if you are constantly believing that your way is the best. I've said this story plenty of times, but we have a really good carpet crew, and we sent them to
What's out, Danny?
CF to R1 and C1. See you, Danny. See you in Vegas, baby.
See you in Vegas.
Um, anyway, they're a pretty good carpet crew, but we wanted to get them certified and sent them R1, C1. I believe they ended up going back and continuing that. But when they came back, they talked about, like, man, I I was so wrong. And there's something about training that can kind of break you down, like being in the training, that these people giving each other advice, it doesn't come across the same because the ego's getting away. If you're
Right.
going to a training, like, you are more open to learning, that's what you're there for. Those guys came back and they were like, man, we call them the McDaniel brothers, and, like, gushed about how much they learned, how much they had been doing wrong, and how they're going to be doing some things different in the future,
Right. And
particularly as it came to, and I think they did go through C2 possibly, because particularly when it came to double glue down stuff.
I've had the privilege of working with, guys that work directly for manufacturers and teaching them, and it's like they come back and they're like, man, I didn't realize how much I didn't know until we went through this class with you. And it's like, and that's what it's all about. And when I'm teaching the classes, I'm like, straight up, if you guys know something that I don't, let me know. And the last time one of the guys did show me, he's like, it's just something simple, is just turn your tip a little bit, then you don't have to work it a certain way. And it's like, man, I did that on the next flash code project I did, and it was like, that's how I'm doing it every time now.
Amen. Yeah,
So
keep
you
on
just go in
learning.
there to learn, and you're like, well, even if you do know that you know a little bit, right, and you know more than the average, or you feel like you know more than the average, and then you go to a class, and you surround yourself by people, individuals who are trying to get better at their craft. It's the amount of information that you guys can bounce off of each other and put it together to create like a new hybrid technique or something like that. That's what makes it all worth it. And
Well,
just
you
being able to absorb that information and then apply it in real life time the next time you touch it is worth its weight in gold.
Dan says he's been learning for 36. Happy 36th birthday, Dan.
One thing always comes to mind is that you shouldn't be doing tricks of the trade if you haven't learned the trade. So if you're doing, like, things that are outside the manufacturer's recommendations or industry standard, and you don't even know what the industry standard is, you're not doing a trick, you're experimenting. You're not even experimenting. You're really risking a lot. And I say that to people who have no industry training, and they're like, I got this trick. No, you may have discovered something, but there's no basis for for your knowledge. So get to trainings. I say it I feel like every week. I feel like I'm a broken record, but get CFI trained. Go, go. You can go to the CFI.org and or is it .com? Shit. What's that? CFI installer. Yeah. I don't know what's up with your mic.
Hi, Mike. What I do?
No, your brother. Say it again. Say something, Daniel. You're not coming through, is he?
I was
There you
muted.
go.
Yeah, yeah, he wasn't.
CFIinstallers.org. My bad.
Yeah.
He muted so he didn't cough in the mic.
I've seen your lips
Yeah.
moving, but I didn't hear anything.
Lanny says that floor cloud is great. Like third-party moisture testing should be required. If for whatever reason someone doesn't use floor cloud, he highly suggests getting certified to conduct moisture testing properly. Too many use out-of-date equipment and do not follow ASTM standards when testing. And my thing is that we are certified, and we do use that. And floor cloud is what gave us the
ability to read remotely.
read remotely and be like, okay, I am going to do my own moisture testing now because there's no way that I can construe these results. Like you're getting the same thing that I'm getting because you can share it to GCs and architects
Right.
or homeowners, whoever you want to send it to.
It's no longer a conflict of interest. It's just more of keeping everyone's best interest in the forefront, and having that live documentation and updates is huge. Worth.
Thank you, Dan.
Invest.
.com and .org will get you there. But it's like, man, just get certified and know that you don't know everything, because it's a constantly changing industry, right? Every industry is like this. If it's not changing, then it's not moving forward.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to
So
stay up to date on all the new adhesives, all the new application standards, and you can do that and build yourself a heck of an online reputation if you do that and you have a Go Career profile too. So we'll be coming out with profile only. Some upcoming news here in the new year. We're working on finalizing some stuff for that. So look forward to some nice positive changes in the Go Career world. So you can still get your free installer profile QR code right on the screen, but you can start building your rating, start building your score, and get that thing up there, and that'll set you apart for everyone. Meaning, people understand a 0 to 5 score. Frankly, one of our problems in flooring is there's so many different entities that train and call different things. So a homeowner may not know that an R2 is a good installer. R2, but they're used to this 0 to 5 score. So get on there and get your score. That being said, I am totally out of mistakes that I've made in this industry, or
I'm
at least
not.
I'm willing
some
to
in the pocket for next time.
that I'm willing
Let's
to
talk
relay.
about this one real quick. There's when I realized this was a while ago, and it also all this dumb stuff does involve me and Daniel. For some reason, dude, it really does involve me and Daniel. We were working at a basement of a priest home, and this is when I realized that flooring installers are not plumbers, and don't act like you know what you're doing or what you're messing with. When we were installing sheet vinyl in the basement, and we didn't know what we were touching, but we know that we could move it a little bit. So we started rocking back and forth a pressure tank. That was it was a holding tank for all of this water.
It was pressurized.
Yeah.
Oh no!
And then, the pressure's coming through the PVC, and we lift it up just a little bit more, push it, almost got it. And right as we yep, good, tuck it under, boom, it blew up and water started coming out. Daniel jumped on it like it was a grenade, put his hands over it, and water just went everywhere. We appreciated the effort out of Daniel, but it wasn't stopping anything.
No, I still stopped a lot of that water. I don't even care what you say.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Luckily, the gentleman was very understanding, and it was very humbling, and said, "Look, here's what happened. I asked the guys to do this. We were trying to get it in there so that way we didn't have to make an unnecessary cut. We wanted to appear that it was built on top. And then boom. But got the water shut off, got everything fixed, replaced. And he was actually very happy when we were done, despite the damage that we caused.
I always take one for the team.
Taking one for the team.
Oh, I'll just never forget that. The look on his face and the water didn't stop coming out.
Would you just run and do? Shut it off?
Shut it
the
off,
ball
and then
valve
he
or
called a
something?
plumber out. Yeah.
Shut off the main. Yep, shut off the main. So I guess that was another lesson.
So how many gallons got out?
A lot.
Ooh,
I was
a lot.
soaked for the rest of the day.
Yeah, there was a lot of water in that basement, man.
Wow.
If I were to guess, hundreds of gallons, maybe. Yeah, like it was
Holy
not
moly.
good.
Wow. Well, if you're joining us today live, thank you so much. Thanks everybody for your comments. And I didn't get a lot of stories, but we got some. That's awesome. Again,
Thanks for the
every single
participation
episode.
from everyone too.
Amen.
Yeah.
We always circles back to training. So we're an industry that needs trained. We're one of the highest skilled industries in the skilled trades, in my opinion. And we need to prove it. So let's go get trained. Let's get certified, and let's build our reputations and do great work. If you want to catch us on any of the podcasting platforms, you'll catch us later on YouTube when we upload there. Anywhere you consume the Huddle, please give us some feedback. Give us a like, subscribe if you're on YouTube, and we certainly appreciate everything. And I think a common theme through here from the guys that are really, really good, they're all still saying we're still learning.
Still learning.
Still learning.
Look at there, Mr.
Always.
Dan Churchill, still learning. Dennis or
Denise.
Denise, like, yep. So,
Well, I guess the next.
all right,
next time
everyone.
we're going to be down in Vegas, right?
Yeah. Hey, thanks for bringing that
And it's
up.
going to be a later show because we're going to do 4 p.m. Vegas time, whatever time zone that is.
Yeah, so catch us next week live from Tice. We're going to be hanging out, going to a lot of different manufacturer booths. We're going to try to get you guys some news, give you some insight on how the show's going. And yeah, who all is going to Vegas? Lanny, Jorge. Yeah. Awesome. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you next week from Las Vegas.
See ya.
Thank you, everyone.
Peace.